What does GCF stand for? Greatest common factor. All right, so it's up here on the board. So, right here, what does GCF stand for? We just talked about that. Greatest common factor. No, not yet. Okay, you don't need to write anything yet. All right, so what is the greatest common factor of 16 and 24? We're trying to find the biggest number that goes into 16 and 24. Okay, so what number do you know goes into 16 and 24? 4. Okay, I'm going to write it over here. 16 divides by 4 and 24 divides by 4. Is there anything else that goes into 16 and 24? 2. 2 goes into both of them, and then someone said it, 8. Okay? Which one of these is the greatest? So the answer to this would be 8. That's the greatest common factor, the biggest number that goes into both of them. Okay? All right. This one, GCF of 12 and 18. What's one number that goes into 12 and 18? 6. And 2? Does 4 go into 18? Does 9 go into 12? Okay, so we got 2 and 6. Which one is the greatest? 6. Okay? So, guys, some of y'all, this is new to 12 divides by 6. What's 12 divided by 6? 2. And 18 divides by 6, and it gives you 3. So this is a number that they both can divide by, and it gives you a whole number. Okay, we don't want decimals today. Okay, now, here's what gets people on these when you have letters. X squared, how many does that mean I have? And here I have how many of them? We need to figure out how many they can have in common. So, this common factor of x to the second and x to the 4 is just x to the second. That's the most they could have in common, because this one only has 2. So the most they could have in common is x to the second. Okay? All right. Write this down, please. 10x squared plus 25x. So this is number 1. 10x squared plus 25x. All right, the first thing we're going to focus on is just the number part. So we have a 10 and a 25. What number goes into 10 and 25? 5. So we're going to write down a 5. Are there any other numbers that go into 10 and 25? No, 2 doesn't go into 25. It's odd. Okay, right here. I have x to the second and x to the first. What's the most they could have in common? If one of them has 2 and one has 1, what's the most they could have in common? Just 1. So the way I say that is it's the smallest small number. The smallest small number. So out of your small numbers, you got a 2 and a 1. You want the smallest one. Okay? All right, so that's the greatest common factor, 5x to the first. All right, write down number 2. 15x to the third minus 30x squared. 15x to the third minus 30x squared. All right, Ethan H., what number will go into 15 and 30? 5, good. Chad, is there any other number that goes into 15 and 30? Daniel? Yep, 3. Chuck? 15. Good, Chuck. 15. 15 goes into 15 how many times? Once. How many times does 15 go into 30? Twice. We want the greatest common factor. So which one of these is the greatest common factor? So the answer is 15. Now I'm going to look at the x's. So Ethan G., what do I want? X to the third or x to the second? X to the second. Okay? 15x to the second. All right. Number 3. You don't need to write this one down. You can skip it as long as you're paying attention. I want all eyes up on the board. Otherwise, I'll make you write it down. Okay. This one, for some reason, the computer messed up. But this is the answer A. This is the answer B, C, and D. Okay? These numbers are really big. Do you agree? But if you look, What's the only number they have in the answer choices? 13. Okay, so you could double check and see if 13 goes into 169. How many times does 13 go into 16? Once. What would I do with these next? And then bring down the 9. Will 13 go into 39? 13, 26, 39. How many times does it go into 39? 3 times. So 13 goes into here. Let's see if 13 will go into 65. Let's do 13 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. I get 52. That's too big. What could I try? Or too small. 13 times what could I try? 5. Okay. 5, 1, 65. Okay, so does 13 go into both of these? Yes. So I can mark out D because it doesn't have a 13 in it. So I need a 13. Okay, and then all you have to do is look at the letters. All right, so Zaria, would I want x to the second or x to the third? Very good. So I can mark out this one and I can mark out this one, and so my answer is A. Okay, so on a multiple choice, it's not too bad. Okay, number 4, write this one down. 25x5, y to the third, 5x to the second, y. Write this one down. All right, Andrea, what goes into 25 and 5? Good. Okay, so I'm going to put a 5 for this one. Now I'm just going to look at the x's, guys, just at the x's. Gracie, do I want x to the 5th or x to the 2nd? You want the smallest small number. And then now, Jesse, now I'm going to look at the y's. Jesse, what is this one? Y to the what? Jesse, what do I want? Y to the third or y to the first? Good. I want the smallest small number. So that's my GCF. Okay. All right, does anybody have a question on that one? All right, now we're going to add one extra step, and that will be what we're working on today. So write this one down. 21x to the 5th plus 7x to the 3rd minus 14x. So we're going to add an extra step on this one. All right, Haley, what goes into 21, 7, and 14? No, 3 doesn't go into 7. What do all 3 of these divide by? 7. Good. Okay, so guys, you're going to draw a line under each of them. So I'm adding an extra little step we're doing. So put a 7 under each of them. And this is what we're going to be doing the rest of the day, this process. So you're going to put a 7 under all of them. And now we're going to look at the letters. Daniel, do I want x to the 5th, x to the 3rd, or x to the 1st? All right, so guys, that's what you're going to write under all of them. So you write the same thing under all of them. Whatever you write on the bottom should match for every single one. You write the same thing under all of them, okay? Now we're going to divide this. Remember our divide rule is DS. What does the D stand for? Divide what? Big numbers and subtract the small numbers. So that's what we're doing next, okay? So, Chuck, what is 21x to the 5th divided by 7x to the 1st? What would I put? X to the, what do I have to do with the 5 and the 1? Which gives me 4, okay? I'm going to drop down my plus. Chad, what do I get when I divide 7x to the 3rd by 7x to the 1st? Good. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Subtract your little numbers. All right, we'll drop down our minus. Dylan, 14x divided by 7x. Good. And guys, right here, what is 1 minus 1? So these cancel. These cancel. Okay? All right, your final answer. Put it in parentheses. Okay? All right, and whatever is written here, you're going to put it out front, and that's your answer. That's your answer. So today we're kind of going backwards for what we've been doing the past couple of days, because look, if you did your lobster claw here, what's 7 times 3? 21. What's 7 times 1? And what's 7 times negative 2? Negative 14. So we're kind of going backwards from the lobster claw. Okay, write this one down. 40y to the 5th plus 36y to the 3rd. All right. Ethan G, what's a number you know goes into 40 and 36? 8. 8 doesn't go into 36. Try a different one. Pick a small number. 2? Okay. Guys, why do we know 2 goes into both of them? Because they're both even. Okay. What's the next even number? 4. Does 4 go into 40? Does 4 go into 36? Okay. Let's check the next even number. What's the next even number? Will 6 go into 40? Will 6 go into 36? Yeah, but it's got to go into both of them. So, and you could keep checking them, but 4 is the one that works for this one. So we're going to divide them both by 4. Going to divide them both by 4. Dylan, what else do they have in common? Very good, Dylan. Y to the 3rd. So, guys, I write the same thing under both of them. Write the same thing under both of them. Daniel, what am I going to do next? Divide. All right, next I have to divide because this means to divide. So, guys, I'm dividing the big numbers and doing what else? Subtracting the small numbers. So, anybody, 40 divided by 4. And then I have to subtract my little numbers. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay? Drop down your plus. 36 divided by 4. 3 minus 3 gives me, good, 0, so they cancel. All right, for your answer, you have to put it in parentheses. And you're putting whatever you wrote on the bottom out front. 4y to the 3rd goes out front. 4y to the 3rd goes out front. Okay. All right, number 7, 12, x to the 2nd, y to the 3rd, minus 75, x to the 5th, y to the 6th. All right, Chuck, a number that goes into 12 and 75? Huh? Daniel? 3, good. Let's talk about any others. What's a number that also goes into 12? Okay, somebody said 12. Type in your calculator 75 divided by 12. What do you get? 75 divided by 12. All right, so you get a decimal, so that doesn't work. 4, what? 75 is odd, so is it going to divide by 4? No. Okay, anything else anybody wants to check? What? 5's not going to go into 12. Anything else? 6? Does 75 divide by 6? Nope. Okay, so 3 is actually it. So I'm going to put a 3 under both of them. Jesse, what else do I need to write under both of them? Very good, Jesse. X to the 2nd. And Tamara, what else do I need to write under both of them? What y's? How many y's do I write under both of them? Pick the smaller one. 3 or 6? 3. So y to the 3rd. Okay. All right, Ethan H., what am I doing next? What? Dividing. So, Ethan H., help me with this. What do I get when I divide right here? Uh-huh. All right, good. I'm going to call on somebody else for the next part. Chad, what happens when I divide right here? Yeah, but think about 75 cents. If I try to divide it into 3 things, 75 cents is 3 what? Quarters, yeah, 25. So I'm going to drop down my minus 25. And Chad, what do I do here? So I get x to the third and y to the third. Okay. Haley, what else do I have to do with my answer? Zaria, what goes out front? This. 3x to the second, y to the third. 3x to the second, y to the third. Okay. All right, number 8, 40. X to the third plus 24x, y to the fifth. All right, Andrew, what's the number you know goes into 40 and 24? Good, 2. These are both even, so let me check another even number. Gracie, does 4 go into 40? And does 4 go into 24? So 4 will go into both of them. The next even number is 6. Will 6 go into 40? Nope. What's the next even number? 8. Will 8 go into 40? Will 8 go into 24? So 8 is the one we want. So you got to get the greatest one that go into both of them. All right. Let's see who's up next. Ethan H., do I want x to the third or x to the... All right, I want x to the first. Guys, does this one have a y over here? Can they have a y in common if this one doesn't have one? No, you don't write any y's on the bottom because they don't have that in common. So you don't write it on the bottom, okay? All right, Andrea, what are we doing next? What does this mean to do? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Divide. So we have to divide next. Anybody, 40 divided by 8? 5. What do you do with the little numbers? So that gives me x to the second. Drop down my plus. 24 divided by 8? Okay, what about x to the first and x to the first? What do you think I do with y to the fifth? Drop it down. Yeah. All right. And Ethan G., what do you have to do with your answer? And what goes out front? Good. All right, guys. We've got, I think we have 12 of these, so we're almost done. So number 9, negative 16, x to the third minus 48, x to the second. Not yet. All right. Guys, always start with this number. That's a good place to check. Will 16 go into 16? Will 16 go into 48? So let's see. So 16 and 16, 2, 1, I get 32. Add another 16. So how many 16s make a 48? 3. So this is always a good place to check. Okay? So when there's a negative out front, you need to divide by negative 16. When there's a negative in the front, you're always going to put a negative on the bottom. When there's a negative in the front, put a negative on the bottom. Daniel, what else do I need to write on the bottom? Yep. All right, so Jesse, what am I doing next? So Jesse, what do you get when you divide that first thing? Very good. 1 what? No, negative by negative is a positive. So you get 1. What do you have to do with the little numbers? There you go. Chad, negative 48 divided by negative 16. How many times did we say 16 went into 48? Very good. Positive 3. And then those cancel. Okay. Tamara, what do I have to do for my answer? Put it in parentheses, and negative 16x squared goes out front. All right, next one, negative 8x to the second plus 24x minus 64. All right, guys, I always want you to try the smallest number first, so kind of use that as a shortcut, see if it'll work. Will 8 go into 8? Yeah. Will 8 go into 24? Yeah. Will 8 go into 64? Yeah, so 8's what we want. Sorry, am I putting positive 8 or negative 8 under there? Chuck, do they have an X in common? All of them. No. Guys, does 64 have an X? So they don't have that in common. Don't write an X down here. Don't write an X, okay? All right, so, Haley, what are we doing next? So Haley, what am I going to get right here when I divide? Do I have to put anything with it? I got to drop down the x squared. Drop that down, okay? Dylan, help me with this middle part. Anything else with it? Drop down the x, good. And Gracie, 64 divided by 8. You can use your calculator if you want. What'd you just get? Divided by 8. Zaria, what do you have to do with your answer? Put this in parentheses and bring down your negative 8. Put it out front. Okay. All right. Last two. Number 11, negative 9x to the third minus 81x squared. All right, go ahead and try this one on your own. I'm going to put the answer up on the board, so it's not a true OYO, but try it. All right, Jesse, what did you write under both of them? Very good. Chad, did you write anything else with the negative 9? Yeah, good job, guys. So you have to put x to the second, because that's what they have in common, x to the second. So you put that with both of them, then you divide. So you get 1x plus 9. And Haley, what else do you have to do with that? Good. And then out front, you put negative 9x squared. Okay. All right, and let's skip to this one. Last one, 6x squared plus 2x. 6x squared plus 2x. All right, Zaria, what goes into 6 and 2? 2. 2 goes into both of those. Andrea, what else do I have to write under both of them? To the second or x to the first? The first. You want the littlest little number. Littlest little number. Dylan, what do I do next? Good, subtract your little numbers. All right, guys, right here, remember you're dividing your big numbers. What's 2 divided by 2? You have to put plus 1. You have to put plus 1. Your x's cancel, but the 2's don't cancel, just the x's. All right, and Daniel, what do you have to do last? And what goes out front? X. 2x goes out front. Nope. It's just to the first power.